Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about acceptable assets, where you can get them from, and what can be used in a real estate transaction. So here we go. Now it may seem self-explanatory as to what you can use when you're buying a home, but believe me, there's a lot of instances that come up where people can get very confused about what they can and cannot do with their money, or where they can get money from when they're going to purchase a property. One such thing that pops up a lot are gift funds. So you can get gift funds from a direct family member that'll help go towards your down payment or your closing costs. And that's totally fine. Depending on your loan program, you could do things like FHA. If you're doing an FHA loan, you have to have a bank statement for the donor, the person giving you it. They have to execute a letter saying it is a gift, that they do not intend to receive repayment for it. And those funds have to be sourced. So it can't be cash that they put in their account and then they give it to you, because that's not sourcing it, that's unsourceable funds. So gift funds are totally normal. Now you can't use cash on hand. That's a total no-no with any real estate transaction because it cannot be sourced. If you put cash in there in your bank account, the underwriter sees it and goes, "Where did this come from?" You say, "Oh, I had it on hand." Meh, that totally takes you out. Can't do it. Money has to be in your checking or savings account. It needs to be there at least for two periods of bank statements showing that the money's been there. It can't be something that you just throw in while you're in the middle of your transaction. So if you have money that's sitting on hand and you're not looking to buy for a long time, then you just put it in your account and you just wait until you're ready to buy. But you can't do it during the middle of a transaction. It'll totally screw things up and it can throw you really off. Another source of funds that is totally usable is from your retirement account. If you have a 401k, an IRA, as long as you have the terms of withdrawal, which are usually the forms that come with money when you tell the company, "Hey, I want to get some money out to purchase a home." Usually they have what's called a hardship withdrawal, and they'll allow you to pull a certain amount of your account out if it's to buy a primary residence. You can't usually do it if you're going to do an investment or a secondary, like a vacation home, but for a primary, it's usually okay. You just have to see with your individual provider. Another way that you can get funds is through a down payment assistance program. So if you use a local or a statewide down payment assistance program, usually those funds, they just come directly from the program and it's taken care of. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to qualify for the loan if it's FHA or conventional, and then with whatever overlays they might have, which they usually have some. One is usually some type of first-time home buyer education. It's usually like a class that you have to take and get a certificate. You have to make sure you haven't owned anything for the last 3 years, things like that. So there's just other requirements. Just you got to talk to your loan officer to see which one, but those are acceptable funds. Other funds that you can use as well that isn't as common, and I wanted to go over this because not a lot of people know about it, are called secured borrowed funds. So when you pull money from a credit card, let's say you cash out money from your credit card, like a cash advanced, those are considered unsecured borrowed funds. They're not secured by an asset, so they're not attached to a car or just something else that has value. They're just kind of unsecured money that came in. Now you can't use that type of money in a transaction. That's typically against almost all the loan programs that are common. But what you can do is a secured version of that, which is if you pull cash from your car. Now, I've come across this a few times in my years of doing loans and working with people, but this has come up a few times, and it's actually been a pretty helpful tool in two different circumstances. One, you don't have enough cash reserves, like you're doing an investment purchase, investment refinance, a jumbo loan, something that requires that you have even more money than what's needed for the transaction above and beyond in your account. And that's something you need reserves, and you can pull cash from a car as long as you qualify with the new payment. And in the other instance is if you just need more cash for down payment or your closing costs, you can actually pull cash from your car if there's equity there, and as long as you qualify with the new payment, you can actually use those funds in a real estate transaction. It's actually very helpful. So this is not an exhaustive list of all the different assets, but those are the most common that I've come across. There are very few others that I've run into, and it usually has to do with like investment accounts where people are just pulling money that they've had invested and it's not tied to their retirement. That's pretty normal. You can usually do that because it's just your money in an investment account. But for the most part, it's usually checking and savings. You've got retirement funds, you've got borrowed funds that come from a down payment assistance program where everything is very specific as to how they're treated. You've got secured borrowed funds, which are not as common, but it can be something to think about if you're short on assets. But those are the main ones. So just kind of wanted to go over those because not everyone knows about what you can and cannot do when it comes to buying a house. So if you like this kind of content, please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already if you want to get more, comment down below if you have any questions, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.